Hello, welcome to Spread Book Joy. Today I'm talking about my favourite literary cats. Keeping my mic, picking this up with my rare footage of Pedro. He loves to cuddle. He buries his head into you when you pick him up, which is really sweet. And you can hear him purring probably, I hope. But yeah, he doesn't like to be in videos much. He likes to rest his head on your neck and cuddle into you, which is very sweet. Sometimes he does it for quite a long time, and sometimes he just runs off. Oh, my love. Very sweet. Alright, see? He does like to cuddle, except he will do it on his terms. He never wants to be in videos. He's very much an outdoorsy cat, so he's always out when it's not terrible weather. That's his bell on his collar. And yeah, that's my rare footage of my cat. If you're new to the channel, I'm Jack. If you're not new, welcome back to Spread Book Joy. Today I'm going to do a video all about my favourite literary cats. It's something I've planned for a while, ever since I did a post on Instagram a while back when there was a charity challenge for an animal shelter, and they wanted us to post a stack full of books featuring animals on the cover, and I discovered I've got a lot with cats on. Now, I do love cat characters in books. When there's a cat character sidekick, whether it's a big cat, a domestic cat, whatever, I always feel quite invested in it. I do have a cat. He's very elusive. I'm going to try and get some footage of him for this video, so I'm not sure by the time at this point of filming I may have put some on already, but he's been with us for 11 years. His name's Pedro, and he's absolutely a joy in my life. I love him to bits. I didn't always want a cat because I grew up with dogs, and I wasn't quite sure if I'd love a cat, but I am an animal lover, and as soon as we got him I fell in love with him. So cats are often featured in fantasy or fairy tales, or they've got a bit of the mystical about them, cats. And in some of the books I'm going to mention, we're going, like, the cats as characters have been the instigators into someone finding a magical world or seeing a parallel world. So I find cats in literature really, really fascinating, and they're quite often linked with, like I said, the supernatural, like witches. Cats have got this kind of air of the otherworldly about them. They're also just so elegant, you know, really delightful just to watch. They're amazing hunters. And actually, as I say to my partner all the time, they are very, very clever, because the domestic cat has managed to evolve to live alongside humans, because, you know, cats, we don't own cats. Cats choose to live with us. If you've got a cat that goes outdoors, a lot of people, I know some people don't let their cats outdoors, but our cat's an outdoor cat, and he loves to go off, and in the summer we barely see him. But they love to go out, and they love to explore, and they love to hunt, and they're very independent. And I watched a program on cats where if you upset your cat in any way, they have been known to move home. They're just like, no, I don't want to live with you anymore, I'm going to go and live with this person. And that's quite right. Animals aren't, we don't own animals, do we? You know, cats especially choose to live with us. So but cats, the domestic cat, has evolved to, it's very clever. It's being fed and given shelter and looked after. And yeah, there's always that quote about cats, isn't there, that a dog thinks that its owner is God, whereas a cat thinks it's God. So they, like, cats are, you know, they've got that kind of self-assured poise, and I love the attitude that cats have. So I'd like to be more cat in my outlook on life. I really would. So if you've been on my channel for a while, you'll know I've been watching lots and lots of reading lots and lots of books lately, which feature dog protagonists, which I love because dogs are such pure souls. And I loved the books I've read recently, which I have reviewed on the channel or talked about in my wrap-ups. The Last Dog on Earth, The Art of Racing in the Rain, and I don't know if I reviewed it, but there's a middle grade book called I, Cosmo, which is absolutely amazing. All those feature dog protagonists. So Emily from Novel Novels was like, I want to read a book with a cat protagonist, a book written for adults, because there are plenty of books written for children with cat protagonists. And I'm not going to feature any picture books today, because I could feature tons of picture books with cat protagonists. but I won't. I am going to talk about some middle grade, and I will be talking about some books for grown-ups which feature cats, and some which are kind of considered a bit YA. But let's get into it. So I'm going to have some honourable mentions, and the only reason I'm giving one of these an honourable mention is because it is probably one of the most famous literary cats of all, and that is the Cheshire Cat from Alice in Wonderland. And the reason I'm only giving an honourable mention to the Cheshire Cat is because I've never read Alice in Wonderland. The Midnight Guardians features Pendlebury, who is an imaginary giant tiger friend. I've talked about this book and gushed about it on here before, but this is probably the best children's book I read last year. Oh, actually no, it might be this year. I kind of read it around Christmas time, New Year. This is one of the best middle grade books I've read in a long time. It's set in the Second World War, and it's all about a boy and his imaginary friends come to life after he'd forgotten about them, and one of them is a giant tiger called Pendlebury, and Pendlebury can grow as big as as the main character Cole wants, or as small as Cole wants, and carries them along on their adventure. And this is a fantastic book. In The Subtle Knife by Philip Pullman, which is the second book in his Dark Materials trilogy, it is a cat called Moxie that discovers the way in to another world for one of the main characters and helps him out. So that happens in this one. And in a lot of Murakami's work, Haruki Murakami, The Wind-Up Bird Chronicle is a very surreal adventure, and the main character, his wife goes missing, but also his cat has gone missing, and that is one of the things that kicks off his adventure. Murakami writes a lot about cats from what I've heard. So I've only read The Wind-Up Bird Chronicle and Norwegian Wood, but yeah, cats feature quite prominently in his work. A children's series I do want to mention, because lots of adults like it too, is Warrior Cats series by Erin Hunter. Erin Hunter is actually a combination name of two authors who write this whole series together. And I read this. It's all about tribes of cats who live in a wood and fight each other. They're always at war. So it's actually got a touch of, it's kind of like an epic fantasy series in a sense, but for children, but all set in a wood around cats. And this is the first book, and it's all about a domestic cat who discovers these wild cats living in the woods behind the house and joins their clan, and they're all at war, and there's mysticism and all sorts of things going on in these. And if you do like cats, I'd give these a go because I think they're really good. Terry Pratchett, huge cat lover, features a lot of cats in his books, and has a book, one of the Discworld books, which is his first Discworld book for children, The Amazing Maurice and His Educated Rodents, which is featuring a cat. So The Amazing Maurice is a talking cat. I've got a kind of wrap-up video where I've talked about this one, or I might actually have a full review of it, and if I do, I'll link it in the description box. But The Amazing Maurice is a retelling of the Pied Piper of Hamelin based in the Discworld. Honorary mention for Crookshanks from Harry Potter and the Prisoner of Azkaban, which is my favourite Harry Potter book. I don't really talk about Harry Potter much on this channel, but I couldn't do a literary cat video without mentioning Crookshanks. So, on to my absolute favourite literary cats, and first up we have the cat in Coraline. If you've not read Coraline or seen the film, I think most people have, but it's about a girl called Coraline who moves into a house with her parents, which is shared, it's split into flats, and she goes to investigate different flats, and in her flat she finds a door that seemingly leads into nowhere, but when she opens the door, it leads into a parallel world. Now, when she goes into the parallel world, there are other versions of her parents, other versions of the people who live in the houses, and there is what she thinks is another version of the cat that lives around the building. And she's been trying to pick up the cat or make friends with the cat, and the cat's been quite snooty and not come near her. And when she finds the other version of the cat, what she thinks is the other version of the cat, in the other version of the house, she tries to talk to him and then discovers he can talk. But it turns out it's not another version, it is the same cat, because cats can walk between worlds. Now, Neil Gaiman has the most excellent short story which I would highly recommend, called The Price, and it is in a short story collection called Smoke and Mirrors, and it's all about a cat, and a cat that is doing a really amazing job of keeping a family safe. It's a very short story, it's not that long, and I really highly recommend reading it. Please, what's your name? Coraline asked the cat. Look, I'm Coraline, okay? The cat yawned slowly, carefully, revealing a mouth and tongue of astounding pinkness. Cats don't have names, it said. No, said Coraline. No, said the cat. Now, you people have names. That's because you don't know who you are. We know who we are, so we don't need names. There was something irritatingly self-centred about the cat, Coraline decided, as if it were, in its opinion, the only thing in any world or place that could possibly be of any importance. The latest addition to my literary cat list is Hoagie from Maggie Blue in the Dark World, and he's going straight into my top 3. Hoagie is a one-eyed, curmudgeonly old cat who befriends a really lonely girl called Maggie. I'm not going to go into the entire story about this, but it's a middle grade fantasy, but it's very dark. It actually reads much more like YA, and I'll put a link to my original review video. But this, the cat absolutely made my day in this story. He was wonderful, a wonderful character, really, like I said, curmudgeonly, bad-tempered, but really at the end of it all a heart of gold and really brave. So he's got one eye. He's big, huge, fat, kind of stray cat that befriends Maggie. Do you ever get lonely, Hoagie? Lonely? Pah, that's human stuff. So you never want friends or anything? Cats want things all the time. I mean, maybe not friends exactly, but the key is we don't have any self-pity. We want, we need, but we don't regret or worry. So my favourite literary cat of all time is Grebo from the Discworld series. If you don't know anything about the Discworld series, everyone knows, I'm sure, pretty sure most people have heard of it. But if you want to know anything more about it, if you've never read it before, I have got an introductory video on where to start with Terry Pratchett's Discworld. And I've been reading it since I was about 13, so for over 30 years I've been reading this series. I haven't finished it yet because I can't bring myself to read the last few books, but my favourite literary cat is definitely Grebo from the Discworld. He is a witch's cat. He belongs to Nanny Og, who is one of the Lancre Coven, and I'm going to read you a description of him from Witches Abroad, in which the 3 witches, who are country witches, go to visit a far off land, exotic place called Genua, and Nanny wants to take Grebo with her. "Oh, Grebo's coming with us," said Nanny Og. "What? But he's a cat," snapped Granny Weatherwax. "You can't take cats with you. I'm not going travelling with no cat. It's bad enough travelling with trousers and provocative boots." "He'll miss his mummy if he's left behind, won't he?" crooned Nanny Og, picking up Grebo. He hung limply, like a bag of water gripped around the middle. To Nanny Og, Grebo was still the cute little kitten that chased balls of wool around the floor. To the rest of the world, he was an enormous tomcat, a parcel of incredibly indestructible life forces in a skin that looked less like fur than a piece of bread that had been left in a damp place for a fortnight. Strangers often took pity on him because his ears were non-existent and his face looked as though a bear had camped on it. They could not know that this was because Grebo, as a matter of feline pride, would attempt to fight absolutely anything up to and including a 4-horse logging wagon. Ferocious dogs would whine and hide under the stairs when Grebo sauntered down the street. Foxes kept away from the village. Wolves made a detour. "He's an old softy, really," said Nanny. Grebo turned upon Granny Weatherwax a yellow-eyed stare of self-satisfied malevolence, such as cats always reserve for people who don't like them, and purred. Grebo was possibly the only cat who could snigger in purr. "Anyway," said Nanny, "witches are supposed to like cats." "Not cats like him, they're not." "You're just not a cat person, Esme," said Nanny, cuddling Grebo tightly. Terry Pratchett was a huge fan of cats, as I've previously mentioned, and he does have a book, which I've never read, and I don't know why, called The Unadulterated Cat, which is kind of, I think, his musings on cats in general. Those are my favourite cats in literature. There are probably millions of them that I'm going to kick myself that I didn't mention, but those are ones that off the top of my head I absolutely love. If you've got a favourite cat from literature, can you mention it in the comments below? I'd love to hear about it. If you like cats and you like channels that feature cats, I know there are plenty of my favourite booktubers whose channels, their cats make appearances all the time. Alice over at Alice and Giant Bookshelf, Claudia at Spencer's Library, her cats Minerva and Beadle are always making appearances, which is great fun. So if you've got, and Gina Stania, who fosters cats and kittens and has the most cute footage lately on her channel. So if you've got a favourite literary cat, let me know in the comments below. Are any of these your favourites, the ones that I've mentioned? And if you are new here, maybe consider subscribing, and hopefully I will see you again here soon. Bye.